pictures. Um, to those who say, you know, the flag is more a sense of pride, a sense of tradition, heritage, Southern heritage, and they mean that in a positive aspect, obviously. What do you all have to make the case against that?
Well, first of all, that's the second flag. That's the battle flag. And that flag, by the creator himself who made it, said it was the white people's flag. And it was about oppression then, and it still is now. As far as Charleston, the killer who went and slaughtered those innocent people lived about a mile down the road from me. And the night before, he stayed in that house, just a mile from me. And we were on our way back from Providence and Boston, telling the people there what was happening, not only in South Carolina, but all across America. And that was our welcome home. That the man down the street from us basically went out and killed 9 people. And all he really was doing was the job that those who are on TV right now, on places like Fox News and Ann Coulter, for instance, telling people to do. Ann Coulter said on national television, immigrants are going to rape our women and steal our land. This is the same thing the killer said, right to the people before he killed them. You're raping our women and taking over our country. So where do you think he's getting that from? Places like this, where oppression is a proud thing. That's where he got that from. Your free speech isn't free. It costs 9 people their lives.
I've heard that it was hung on the dome as a sort of snub to the civil rights move. I believe it was in 1961. I haven't corroborated that yet, but I believe that that was the case, in which case there is no case to be made. Obviously, we all know what the civil rights movement was for. And that they would choose to hike it aloft in that hour tells you everything you need to know about its bloody heritage. So, to my mind, there is no debate. There is only facetiousness. There is only someone attempting to sidestep the issue. That boomerangs around. By that same token, why doesn't Germany fly the swastika? I've actually heard several people make that comment too, but the Buddhists, the Jainists, the Hinduists, they would like their sign of auspiciousness back. If we can fly this, that the KKK rode with, then why can't the Buddhists maybe rock a Nazi symbol? Oh wait, Hitler. You know what I mean? So, I mean, once it's been stained so indelibly, there is no point in even trying to pretend that the stain's not there. This one doesn't wash out. It doesn't wash out.
The instances of heritage that people like to talk about, it's a false heritage. That flag was meant to be furled when they signed the Treaty of Surrender at Appomattox. Confederate General Lee said that that is a stain on American society, and it should not be unfurled again. It wasn't until the Dixiecrats in the 1940s who broke away from the Democratic Party in the South, used that flag. Their only platform was the continuation of segregation. In 1961, as he was saying, it was put on top of the dome to celebrate the centennial of the Civil War. However, when the Civil Rights Act came on, they continued to keep it up there as a defiance for to continue segregation. Now here we are, 40-something years later. They think this is a compromise. It should not be on government property. If you really want everybody on the same page, you will get that down from our state house. It does not belong here, and it should be in a museum where it rightfully belongs.
Considering there's 19 hate groups right here in South Carolina, that should be considered an act of treason.
Exactly.
Once a secessionist, always a secessionist.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
Do you all have any faith in the current legislation to make laws that would take that flag down?
I believe it when I see it.
Critical mass. If people get angry enough or desperate enough about it, they will take actions that may push the envelope of so-called civil disobedience. At that hour, we might see some change, because at that hour will be irrefutable that everyone has a vested interest in seeing that come down. Prior to that moment, prior to people truly maybe perhaps storming that center there, I don't know. The General Assembly, it requires, I think it's a two-thirds vote, a two-thirds majority vote to get that flag to be taken down permanently. So they have no reason to transition without hostility, without overt and desperate measures, perhaps. I've heard that people have clambered up there, burned it. I mean, they keep on putting it back. There's one person, maybe a nice symbol, but one person isn't enough. There's a critical mass here. If you care, be here.
When we were down there, a lot of people turned to their own personal faith, their belief, to get to the struggle time, because many of them knew these certain people, their family members, etc. What words would you say to those people who are hurting now?
You kind of float off. I'm sorry.
What words would you give to people who are hurting down in Charleston if it's their family members, their dearest friends who got murdered?
There are no words. I would tell them to stop saying the word. Forgive.
Yep.
Finally. Stop saying that word.
I would say this is not the beginning of our sorrows. It's not the end of our sorrows. This was one of the circumstances that's happening across South Carolina, across America. We still cry for Walter Scott right now, you know? So, I'm pretty well-known poet. Can I share a poem? I seen something. I seen something in South Carolina. I seen something all across America. I seen something, and I got something to say. I'm here now, and what's more is I've been here before at the SC State Capitol where the Confederate flag flies every day. Prison is our top industry. It's infinitely more profitable to the populace than mom and pop stores. That's how it is in my state, and it may be the same in yours. Check it. I mean it, and let me know if you've seen it. The police here are big bruisers, and they have this sport where they bump young black men with their cruisers as they recklessly chase them to their community like deer. Like Marlon Brown, they will run you down, and our people live in constant fear. You know who they are, the people leaders. I seen something. And I know you've seen it too, because when I was there, I was talking directly to you at the SC State Capitol on numerous occasions, using every method of poetic persuasion I have when speaking to the community as an abolitionist, as a witness to this monstrous atrocity at the same place for the same reasons my forebears spoke of in 1850 and right here in the very same city. Right after another mother's child died and nobody wanted to say why, I marched with babies and beside the young men so they could all see it too and know what to do when they see it again. I have personally witnessed in courtrooms in a state of fury while my black brothers and mothers and fathers and sisters and sons were unjustly tried and incarcerated by all white or nearly all white juries on purpose. In fact, it's accepted tactics. That's just how they do. No polls or graphs needed to convince me it's true. I seen it, and I know you've seen it too. With my own eyes, I've seen lawyers manipulate the structure of a jury by face, by the color of someone's face. I suggest you go see it take place personally. No reason why you can't. For all intents and purposes, our courtrooms look just like a CCA or GEO corporate product processing plant. I've seen it, and you see it too. If you ever look around, you will know that there's something in the way of things in town. So I'm not trying to hear about what's legal or politically correct. This is not some problem you can solve with a check. Have you forgotten what was said about a man named Dredd? That colored persons of African descent have no rights which white men are bound to respect. So here's a finger for your feelings, maybe even two. You know how I do. I'm trying to be honest. So I don't care about whatever laws you think we need to change, or what politicians you vainly claim can Superman our lives out of bondage. A mission, a petition seems meaningless in this madness. And somewhere in Florida, votes are still being counted. Taylor Mali. I'm trying to say I've seen it. You've seen it too. You all know it's true. Every genocide is considered legal by the people doing the killing, enslaving, the robbing, and raping. They never stop taking till your eternal spirit is left drained and your soul left stained by feelings of shame and guilt so old and ingrained that you can't even name it, until all that is left is this overwhelming urge to protect and serve the very men who enslaved you and made you in their image there in the mirror of your soul. Do you see it? Believe that you do. That's why I said I seen something. And I know you've seen it too.
Just two more quick questions. Can you tell us about the inception of the new abolitionists?
About the exception?
The inception, how you all came about.
The abolitionists never went away. The exception clause that was included in the 13th Amendment in 1865 provided an exception for prisoners. They immediately, right here in South Carolina, the first federal prison was built in 1866, 1 year after the Emancipation Proclamation. That was a really quick prison to build, wasn't it? No, it was a planned act. It was how they kept the Union together. They transferred slavery from the hands of the individual person into the state's hands. And the states immediately enacted things called black codes and convict leasing. And those things went on until 1940 or so. And then in 1970, President Nixon started his war on drugs. That was where we saw the first explosion of mass incarceration. At that time, there were only 230,000 prisoners in our country's prisons nationwide. And by the time it got to President Reagan, who opened the doors for the first privately owned prisons and allowed people to start buying stocks in human beings again and to be sold on the open market, we went from 230,000 to 2.5 million we see today. Those people are being sold like cattle right now. Literally. Why do you think we have the largest prison population in the history of the world right here in the United States? We have private prisons that are working in collusion with states, like Hawaii, for instance, who has such a big prison population that they built a prison in Arizona for nothing but prisoners from Hawaii to be exported from Hawaii to Arizona.
Sorry, we have about 15 seconds. Would you give us just a final word?
Become an abolitionist. We need abolitionists today. Forget about reforms. Reforms is the 13th Amendment. Let's end slavery and all our problems will be solved after that.
If you're human, you are abolition.
All right. And we run out of memory. But thanks. Thanks a lot.